All right, what's going on with y'all, man? I'm back with another video, and let's talk about one of my favorite racing games, I would say. One of them, Flatout Ultimate Carnage. Now, personally, I believe this is a game that I think should come back. Now, of course, if you haven't played this game yet, I think it's worth a try. It's crazy, it's chaotic, it's fun. I think it's relatively easy to get into. You might have some trouble with the driving, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Yeah, but aside from that, I do think that we haven't gotten a great racing game in a long time. Yeah, we have the Need for Speed series, some other ones, but I feel like we need that archaic, I guess you could say that archaic racing style of gameplay. Yeah, and for some odd reason, there just hasn't been any really racing games like this, or I would say a lot of archaic racing games. Yeah, at least when it came to the early 2000s and mid 2000s, we had like a wider selection. But it just seems like now there's just, your standards. You got, Gran Turismo, of course, you got Forza. Yeah, but besides all that, we just don't have those crazy racing games that we used to get. Now, I do believe the last Flatout game was called Flatout Insanity, but I don't think that really did good by, at least by reviews or in terms of gameplay. Now, of course, when it comes to every, I guess you could say, racing game, they do start you out in the, I guess you could say, beginners category. Yeah, so it goes from derby class, racing class, and then street class. Yeah, but what is pretty cool is the fact that you can earn CR, so I guess that's pretty much money in the game. Yeah, and so what that does is just lets you upgrade the cars. Besides customization, though, you can't really do anything. Yeah, but besides customization, there's really none. Except changing the color. But besides all that, the main reason why this game is just loved is because of the racing and the just the amount of just for the most part, the amount of destruction and mayhem that goes on while you're racing. Yeah, I would say some things can be destroyed, like glass, small objects on the ground. You can hit trash cans and just stuff like that. Yeah, I would definitely consider this one at least one of my childhood favorites, just simply because the racing style is so chaotic. Like I can't tell you how many times I've played this game. Like at least when I either just got bored or I was just tired of playing just pretty much for the most part online games. Yeah, and let's not forget, before the full game came out, they actually had a demo. One race you got to do, and then it was a demolition derby. So I am aware that the studio went on to make Wreckfest and Wreckfest 2. But yeah, other than that though, I might bring this to the channel though, possibly later on in the future. Another thing I also liked about this game is the fact that because sometimes after when the race was over or whatever the case was, a lot of times they would show pretty much each character, and each character would have their own bio, and depending on that character, that's pretty much how they would drive. Yeah, I would say this is probably my at least top 5 favorite racing games of all time. Yeah, personally, in my opinion, I mean, a racing game doesn't need to be or doesn't need to have strong customization for the game to be good. I would say I'm more of an archaic racing game fan than I am, I guess you could say, the Need for Speeds or whatever the case is. Now, of course, that's not to say those games are bad or I don't like them. It's just that, I just enjoy the amount of craziness and the chaotic that these arcade games bring in terms of, car damage or just overall just destruction, which is just for just some odd reason these modern racing games just don't bring anymore. Another thing too, I think that's why I am kind of stepping away from online gaming. Personally, like to me, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Yeah, for some odd reason, there's just a lot more people who just try way too hard. Now, that's not to say I don't still enjoy online games, but it's just not as much as I used to. Because to be honest, in a way, like it can get, at least for me, like it can get boring playing online games. That's why a lot of the times I just say forget it. Let me just boot up a single player game. I do feel like a lot of these arcade games need to come back, and I mean the ones that just bring a lot of chaos and crazy destruction. Yeah, what's crazy is just the fact that for this to be a single player game, they do give you a lot, but they also have stunts too. Yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, I think that's what also drew me in when it came to this game. It's just the fact that you also had a variety of stuff that you can do. I do know if you increase this, or I guess you could say upscale the graphics up to 4K, it does look better. I remember playing this on the 360, and the graphics were already good. I also feel like that's what a lot of racing games brought back, at least back in the day, was a lot of creativity. What else can we do besides racing? But yeah, man, I would love a Flatout Ultimate Carnage remake. Oh my goodness. I also think that this game slipped under a lot of people's radar, at least back in the day, when it came to racing games and when racing games were really popular. Now, they do have Flatout 2 that actually came out before this, but you don't really need to understand or need to play that one to really get this one. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just more characters and more cars. They do have Flatout Insanity, but I don't think that one did really good. Or I should say, I guess lived up to the hype. And that one's pretty much the last one. Those are just my thoughts on this game. I really hope that either the studio makes another one or we just get more games like this because I think it's needed. And I also think when you're just getting the same type of racing game genre over and over again, it can get just boring and repetitive. But alright, yeah. Those are just my thoughts on this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give the video a like, comment if you want to comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, y'all, peace out.